guest today is Paul Sorenson. Paul and his wife Emma operate Gravel Springs Produce Farm.
My wife's family grew up, father grew up here. It was a dairy farm, and it had spent many years milking cows here through his younger days, and then as he moved on and left the farm, Emma's family continued to own the farm, but not necessarily operate the farm. It was much of the land was rented out, and after working jobs in Washington, D.C. and other places, we decided that we needed a lifestyle change, wanted a lifestyle change, and we had a real passion for local food. And as a part of that, we decided, you know, what better way to do this than we love to garden, and what better way to continue the legacy of this farm and try to make this farm a working, operational place where we can provide wholesome, healthy products and good food for ourselves and for our community. And so we started growing vegetables on the farm, first just for ourselves, and then later on a part-time basis for customers, and now it's developed into a full-time and a growing enterprise for ourselves, and something that supports the community. And we deliver to Washington, D.C. and to Baltimore, and also serve some customers here in our community here in Carroll County. And we absolutely love what we do, and that's how it all got started for us.
You've been using the pronoun we. Can you tell a little bit about who's involved in the operation?
Sure. My wife Emma, who works full-time off the farm, but also works here full-time, just about, or what it seems like. But some weeks it's part-time, but most of the time she's got 2 full-time jobs. My wife Emma is an integral part of this operation. And my mother and father-in-law are highly involved. And I don't think we could run an operation like this, or have started a farm like this, without both my wife as a huge supporter, doing most things I do, and then some, especially a lot of administrative support she helps me with, and then my in-laws, who kick in whatever needs to be done. You know, we joke my father-in-law is we call him the non-vegetable support to the farm. The mowing, the upkeep, the things that can't be done, fixing the fences, the things that can't be done while you're daylight to dark trying to harvest vegetables and get them out of the field. He's the non-vegetable support. He jokes that he's not essential support. I say non-vegetable support. So he's a huge help. And then my mother-in-law is we do some cut flowers as well, and she spends a lot of time with the cut flowers. She has a horticulture background with the University of Maryland through her education and earlier years, and so she's really good at flowers. She also does a lot of taking care of our poultry, and we do some eggs, and she takes care of that, and then helps out with a lot of other things that need to happen around the farm. So it's definitely a family operation. And then when we go to markets, occasionally my brother-in-law lives in the city, so he'll come to the markets and help out. So it's truly a family operation, and so that's when I say we, I mean the central family, and anybody else who happens to kick in for the weekend, friends from the city, that sort of thing, kick in and help as well when we can get them.
Did you have a farming background?
You know, I did not really. I grew up in a farming community in Indiana, born and raised there. You know, spent many days on the grain truck and helping operate with my brother-in-law and doing that sort of thing. But really not. Really, I didn't grow up. I didn't have a background that lent itself to vegetable farming. Or you know, like I said, I spent some time in the fields with commodity crops, just as a consequence of growing up in central Indiana, where corn and soybeans rule. I grew up around it, but I didn't have a operational background in it to say. So, like I said, I've been on the truck, but I spent a lot of time educating myself through online resources, through organizations like Casa Future Harvest, through the Maryland Extension, a lot of the state extensions that have great resource online. So I spent a lot of time educating myself, a lot of time reading books, and a lot of time going to other farms and visiting, and online videos. Anything and everything you can find were the resources I used to educate myself. So without a farming background, that information is extremely valuable. I think joining organizations and attending conferences and talking to other producers have been my biggest assets. From an education standpoint, I think those were the biggest things I could have done was really fulfill my obligation to treat the land properly, and to do that, I had to educate myself properly, and so by joining organizations and meeting with other producers, that was a huge asset. And then the other large asset is having a support system, having via my family, via other producers that I can call mentors. Those were huge. Those are huge things that I can call somebody, and whether it be to say, hey, we have this pest problem, how do we fix it? Or, hey, I don't know what's going on. The weather's doing this. What do you generally do in this situation? Or sometimes just to have somebody to listen to my gripes or my complaints of what's going on and what's not going well, or share my successes with someone and say, hey, this is what's going on and this is what's been good for me. And a lot of out of those conversations comes good feedback. So I think those are the assets that really lend themselves to growing an operation and creating a network to grow and to get better and to provide better food and to create a community food shed and community food system. Well, we started our operation in 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. We really kicked it off. And at that point, I was working full time and doing this part time. And in order to add resources into the farm via cash and capital that would help us start our operation, and also to give us the time to make some mistakes, it was essential to us to be able to work full time. It was for my wife and I both to work full time and also farm part time. So that was a huge decision point for us. And then this past year, in 2012, we had considered when is the right time to go full time. And as you look back, there's a lot of decision points that go on, a lot of benchmarks that you look at to say, okay, when can this start to become something that I can make a living off of, and something that will be profitable and or at least growing towards a profitable position for us. And so those decisions for us came through looking at financial outlook. How had our revenue grown? What were we selling, and where would we be able to grow and continue to grow our revenues and grow our customer base and bring in new customers, and where were we at now? And by going full time, where would we be able to go that we couldn't go before because we were only doing it part time? A lot of the decisions are financial, but a lot of them are also how much more can my business grow because it has my full undivided attention towards it. And that was a huge decision. And in going full time and making this my daily business as opposed to my part-time business, we were able to grow the business significantly in the past year because we added that full-time component to it. Well, I think marketing is a huge component, and by no means am I a master at marketing, but having come from working in the city and working in other places, I have been able to tap my contacts and also to reach out to just a handful of people that I knew, say in Washington D.C. where we've added our CSA this year, and to contact people and say, hey, I know you may not be interested in local food, or you may be interested in local food, but if you are or are not, doesn't matter to me. Do you know others who might be? And so reaching out to people and marketing to friends and family first was a huge part, and then sending out let's just say an introduction email and say, hey, this is what we're doing, we're delivering to your neighborhood. People will reach out. There's especially in the city, there's huge networks of people, whether it be listservs, community listservs, work listservs, those sorts of things, we marketed hard towards those groups of people, and our friends and family and contacts, and some people we ended up becoming friends with have been huge components in our marketing plan. Word of mouth. We don't have the money or the funds to do a television blitz or direct mail blitzes and those sorts of things that large companies do, but we do have the word of mouth, and I think local products, people who love local products love to tell others about the local products they get. So marketing was a huge component in getting our products into people's hands. Through word of mouth is usually the best way, because those folks tend to appreciate our products more than anybody, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a growth plan, or are you kind of just wait and see?
Yeah, our growth, we projected out a lot of where we want to be, and how do we make this farm a place where we can live and grow our vegetables, but also we still want to be manageable, but we want it to be larger. And I think a lot of our growth plan comes to our business plan, and our business plan. It takes some time. It takes some time to develop your business plan, and I feel like it's changing all the time. But our business plan gives us the opportunity to once every year, once every 18 months or so, to go back and look. Here's where we wanted to go. Here's where we're hoping to go. We write down our goals, and you really have to think through it when you write a business plan. You really have to say, okay, this is where we're at. If we do X, Y, and Z, this is where we can go. And our business plan has really forced us to do that, and forced us to push our growth and decide what decisions can we make that will go well and grow our business, and what decisions, and also look back when we review our business plan and look at what we did or did not do, what was successful, what was not successful. It forces us to look back and say, okay, that didn't work, but if we go a different direction, if we go this direction, then we're going to continue to grow. For example, we really enjoy going to a farmer's market, but at the same time, we really enjoy for us, a CSA is really nice, because there's cash at the beginning of the season, and with a small enterprise, cash at the beginning of the season is big for us, because it helps us buy our seeds, it helps us buy our bins, our supplies, and pay for a lot of our upfront costs. And so in our business plan, we're expanding the area that says CSA and focusing less on probably the farmers market side, because farmers markets are great if you get into the right farmers market, and we're open to more and bigger farmers markets, but they're variable. They can be, some weeks are great, some weeks are not. So, but we found CSAs are consistent. We can deliver a consistent product. We can count on a consistent income from them, and so has been a big part of our business planning and our growth plan. From a perspective of what makes farming tough. Farming is tough for a number of reasons, and most people think of, and I can tell you a million and one ways it's tough, because we have bugs on the plants, and for example, this fall we lost our brassicas, which are cabbage and broccoli and Brussels sprouts, to pests, because we just had a bad pest year in the fall. Those things are always there. Those things are always difficult. Not enough rain, too much rain. Those sorts of things are always there. But also the administrative side of things can be very difficult. Keeping your books up to date. Corresponding with customers in the middle of July or the early August when they have a question or they have a concern about something, and you've got crops coming in all over the place and weeds coming up all over the fields. Those are things that are difficult, because you're mixing your administrative tasks with your growing tasks, and there's not an infinite amount of money to hire people to pull the weeds, and there's a lot of those things as a small beginning entrepreneur, small farmer, that you're obligated yourself to take care of. There's nobody out there that's going to take care of if you don't. So you're a full-time administrator, you're a full-time farmer, and any number of other things. You still have to go in the evening time after dark and do your own laundry. So it's nobody's there to take care of things. So there are a lot of challenges. but at the end of the day, at the end of the season, when you sit down and you look back and you hear from customers who say, man, this season was so great, and particularly this season, the first year doing this full time, customers came back, you look at all the obstacles, customers came back and the feedback was overwhelming of, we're going to join the CSA next year, and we have friends who want to join the CSA next year because everything was so good. Those are the really, really rewarding things, and you can look back and sit across from your family and go, man, this is really going well. Hopefully we can continue to do this, and we can make it so we can make a living here, and we can grow the farm and live here and enjoy our place. Everybody's philosophy on farming, on making their business work is different, and so you read books, you see how other people are doing it, and you go, okay, that could work for me. For example, I read a couple authors books early on. This is how we manage our soil. This is how we grow our vegetables, and this is the bed widths and the and you think that it might be a one size fits all. Well, farming is definitely not a one size fits all. So what we've had to do is we went from, for example, in our fields, we dug out raised beds with shovels our first year and tried to make this all work. And yeah, it worked fine, but we realized we couldn't grow that way. We couldn't. You can't use a shovel. You can't use it. For us, we couldn't use a shovel and a hoe to do the things we wanted to do, to be efficient, have some energy at the end of the day, and continue to administrate. We had to mechanize. And so one thing that we've done a lot on our farm is, as we could afford to, we've mechanized. We've added pieces of equipment, things that make our lives easier, that keep us from breaking our backs, and make our operation I wouldn't say we work less hard, we work smarter than we did 3 years ago. And so working hard and working smart, whether it be taking a tractor out to do a job that we would have done with a shovel, or taking a truck out to the field to harvest something where we would have had to walk with a wagon or a wheelbarrow before. Those are the sorts of things that we've done, and the sorts of, there's small mechanization pieces that we've added, and those things have really changed our operation and changed our ability to grow a greater amount of quality produce, as opposed to a very small amount with the same level of effort on our part.
So your advice to someone starting out is to mechanize as soon as they can, or?
No, not necessarily. I think mechanization for us is important, but I think you have to remember a one size fits all. Some people have found they can grow the way they want to grow on a half an acre or 1 acre, and I think that's great. I think it takes all types. I think we need thousands of small farmers doing what works for them, and so for us, mechanization made sense. For the next person, it might make sense to continue to be small and serve their community. And for us, marketing into the cities was important to us. And other people, they may have a community that's very supportive of their operation, and I think it's important that they serve that community. We're able to leverage contacts in the city, the friends that we got to know through our past careers and our past jobs. That worked for us. Where other people are more tied into their local community, their local town, their local county, those things work for them. I know a farmer just south of here, just on the Howard County, Carroll County line. He sells a lot locally, and where we haven't had the luck locally that we've had in the city. So I think it's not a one size fits all. Farming is definitely find your niche, find your area, and make it work for you. The primary driving force for me is the lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, and serving our family. Being able to grow this farm, maintain this farm, not only for our generation, but for when I eventually have children, for that generation, to keep my family energized and to keep them passionate about this farm, and to grow this farm, and to keep this farm in the family. I think that's a big thing. For example, we're still even planting trees that we know that I'll never see. come to maturity, but hopefully in 80, 90, 100 years there'll be beautiful, amazing trees on this farm. Things like that, we look at the long-term picture. So creating the proper soil health and keeping this farm for another generation is what really keeps me passionate. And also the relationships we make with customers, with other farmers. Those are very important to us because living on a farm can be a solitary life, but if you in the way we live it and the way we market our products, we get to touch a lot of people with our food, with our story, and so interacting with other people and getting to know other people is a huge component of what we do, and connecting people with our food is really important to us.